Engaging in Dérive is a way of reclaiming your own right to the city, repainting its image in your own mind and finding out how to find comfort in it. When there is no rush or societal pressures, it is much easier to figure out what to do in uncomfortable situations. By roaming and enjoying the streets on your own terms, you not only flip the script by making the city serve you, for once, but also you prepare yourself for upcoming discomfort. Dérive could hence be viewed not only as a way of discovering the city, but also a way of introspection, training, and mitigation of future discomfort. In the course, we talk about all the ways in which we can see the city. And indeed, visual stimuli is mostly what I concentrate on during my walks, while actively trying not to hear or smell anything disturbing. In his chapter on city life and the senses, John Urry also mentions this tendency when he says that visuality has lately become the most important sense to us, and that we experience the city mainly through sight, whilst mitigating senses such as uncomfortable smells. He takes this argument even further when claiming that the capacity to see is actually a power of possession, as it allows you to control things from afar, master them while staying detached. Interestingly, and quite conveniently for this course topic, he claims that photography is the ultimate tool to do that. But what happens when you take one's vision away? Upon losing their sight, do people also lose their right to possess and master the city? Or perhaps, can this experience be, ironically enough, eye-opening? What really struck me was how omnipresent the sounds in the city are. The city is never silent, and its sounds are like a never-ending current that keeps on reporting what is going on. The sounds can serve as an important orientation tool, as they embody the proximity and directionality of the objects that move all around you. However, they can turn out to be quite confusing and misleading. Oftentimes there are sirens or alarm noises coming from afar that serve no purpose other than to stress you out. Besides the irrelevant noises, there is also the mosaical nature. You can literally never see the whole picture, but rather have to glue fragments together. Instead of a smooth monolith, the blindfolded walk becomes a collage of snippets and various stimuli, which probably with the time you eventually learn how to make sense of, I would hope. Moreover, when experiencing the city without sight, you naturally miss context and details such as the color of the exceptionally noisy car or the attractiveness of the runner by. However, the experience is arguably not poorer for it. Rather, I found myself noticing different stimuli. When not being able to see the whole picture, I found myself paying attention to individual fragments. The birds in the background signaling that a park is near, the changing loudness of bikes depending on the surface they were currently riding on, and so on. The information you receive hence becomes less detailed, but equally rich and profound because you are able to separate the individual parts of the experience and place them in the spotlight one by one. The act of observation then becomes more meditative and mindful. That is also what I attempted to show by the pictures you see. The big picture becomes fragmented into individual segments, which get to stand out more, and which, when put together, form a more or less consistent impression of the situation. Panopticon and the exhibitionary complex. In their chapter, Rositer and Gibson fleetingly mention the phenomenon of panopticon, which is rather elaborately described by Bennett in his exhibitionary complex. Both of the sources claim we live in the time of surveillance. What it means is that the brute power of the state has been replaced by individual citizens. Education and media have internalized the general plausible values deep inside our moral compass. Bennett claims that before we had museums and expositions, the punishment was directed towards the body. It was supposed to be apparent to everyone, and people did not go against the law because of the fear of punishment. Now we punish people in hidden away prisons, and what is public is the process that forgoes the punishment. Technically, the state does not need police and hangmen anymore, as much as it needs its indoctrinated citizens who police each other. When I go for a walk, I judge people. If a man relieves himself in front of Albert Heijn in the city center, I scorn him spitefully and hope it does make him feel worse. Walking around the city with your eyes wide open means predominantly observing other people and their doings. Wandering without sight is for this very reason extremely freeing. Not only are you not concerned with other people, except for when they might bump into you, but arguably, you are also less aware of who is paying attention to you specifically. In a sense, blind people, in my perception, participate much less in what I would describe as the panopticon of the city. So, in brief conclusion, modern society puts a lot of emphasis on sight and seeing the city. Arguably, you can feel the city equally profoundly without sight when using other tools such as hearing. What makes the blind experience of Dérive special is its mosaicity. Receiving fragments of information resembles zooming in and mindfully directing one's perception on each stimulus. Another distinctiveness of the non-visual Dérive experience is its lessened surveillance, which makes it more freeing and more meditative. Dérive by itself is not only a method which I have used for this essay, but also a tool all of us can use to feel more comfortable in the city and reclaim our rights to it.